And we are live, and I've pushed everything I meant to push today, and with the love of God, can there please not be any crackling at all today. We are live. I am live from Kent. The rest of these guys are live from everywhere else that they may be, and we are genuinely looking forward to what should be another fantastic evening of debate, fun, joy and opinions. So it should all be good fun. As you can see, I have three people here with me today. Two that are meant to be here. One that's popped on as a late starter and may potentially be replaced as soon as the official signing arrives. But very pleased to have them all nonetheless. So we'll do our usual and run around quickly. Anthony, lovely to have you back. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thanks. I've had the day off today, so I've had my boy. Got him till tomorrow, and then I'm got an engagement party to go to, and then I'm going up to Stourbridge on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to the weekend ahead.
Very nice. Nice busy weekend for Anthony. John, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, evening everyone. Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to some more football at the weekend.
Plenty of it to go through, and of course, our intrepid leader Connor has joined us also. How are you doing, sir?
Indeed, I'm a loan deal for today, is what I am. That's Matt's the full transfer. I'm the temporary 6-month loan deal, if you want to look at it that way.
I mean, I saw you more as a trialist, to be honest with you. Maybe you might sign.
I don't even get to be called a loan deal. I'm a trialist now.
Right. I've got to do it right if I can get away with it on this. Jolly good. Well, there's lots of people in the chat already, and I'm sure that the conversation will grow and grow. But the thumbnail today and the topic that we've chosen to go with is based on the news that has come out of the Norwegian national camp. Now, we know that Maria Thorisdottir got dropped. We know that Vilde Risa has also been dropped and is not going to be in the team. And I refer to Jamie Spencer's article that came out and Vilde Rise's response as well. So basically, Hege Riise has suggested that it is not going to be likely that she does well, basically, or plays for Norway if she stays at Manchester United. And this is confirmed by Bo Risa, who's put playing in the national team is the biggest thing for me. So she's definitely going country before club here. So this stings. I've spoken to Hege. She called me yesterday. The way I understand it, she probably doesn't think United is the right club for me, and I should consider something else. And this is tough to hear. Now, obviously, we can break this down a little bit further as we go through, but I'm just going to ask straight off the bat, based on that, do you agree with Hege Riise? Do you think that if she wants to play for Norway, she's going to need to go somewhere else or not? And then we'll see if we can go into it a bit more forensically in just a moment. We'll kick off with, as you hear, Connor, and you might not be soon. We'll start with you.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I've got to be careful what I say here. I think, for Bo Risa, she clearly values playing for a national side. She clearly, from that part of the world, I think it's very, and it is for most players, but it's very special to go back and play for your national side. She clearly values it highly. So as she's come out and said, it hurts. Hearing that from her new national team coach that Man United might not be the right club. So it's a difficult one for her. And that's why when we were thinking of ideas for the thumbnail, and we put tug of war, because for her, it must also be feel a little bit like that, because she's obviously getting told, at United, she wants to play a big part. She clearly wants to play for a national side as well. So it's a real tough one for her. But my argument would be if she really wants to prove herself, do it for Man United, get in the starting 11 at United, and that will prove your worth for Norway. Because if you're doing so well at Manchester United, that's not going to be... you can't avoid that if you're the Norway coach. So that would be my advice. And she will anyway. She's a quality player and get her head down and hopefully push on next season. But that's got to be the thing for Bo Risa, hasn't it? Push on for United. That will then lead to the Norway squad, no matter what. Obviously, Risa has come out and said, but she's got her reasons. I can see why she's left both of them out. Neither of them really did. Obviously, Maria had a tough Euro, so I get it. But I think saying that Man United is not the right club is a little bit strong, just because she's not been playing.
I think I tend to agree with the vast majority of what you've put there, Connor. Sam, we're going to come back to what you just put there momentarily, don't worry. But I would like to ask the other two first on their opinions. So, John, let's go to you. What do you think?
Yeah, sort of like Connor says, it sort of puts her in a very awkward position, really. It's sort of quite a controversial thing for Hege Riise to say something, so upfront like that. I think it was Bo Risa, Rich was really sort of hyped to, beat United. But now it's obviously made things, very difficult. So, like I say, it's you're just gonna have to really just sort of knuckle down and hopefully impress if she gets the opportunity at the start of this season to try and change her mind.
Anthony, what do you think? Is this the right club for Vilde Riise going forward?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I don't think she's really been given much of a chance at United. So it is a difficult one. She's caught in two minds, trying to play her way into the United team, but also she wants to be in the World Cup. Now, I reckon, when does the transfer window shut? Is that the day before? Is it before the WSL season starts?
I think it might be the 8th.
Yeah, so maybe she might think, okay, I've got three and a bit months before January opens, and then think, well, no, I've not played enough. If I carry on at the club, then I'm not going to get in the World Cup. So maybe it doesn't have to be a permanent deal, but maybe look at someone in the WSL to take a chance on her, so she can try and knuckle down a place for the World Cup on the second part of the season. Because I'm sure if she gets the game time in that, she'll prove to the Norway manager that she deserves a spot. Because on the bits we have seen her play, most notably at Brighton when she scored them 2 goals, we know she can play well and contribute big to the team. But I know a lot of it. Marc does he's very much like he has his favourite players who start, and they're the ones that are in, and you have to play outstanding or get your chance when someone's injured or suspended. So she might be thinking that as well. Am I really going to get the chance? It's a difficult one. It's obviously Bo. She's a United fan as well, so. But then, of course, she'll want to play for Norway. So I would say try and knuckle down for 3 months, get your spot in the United squad. If it doesn't happen, you can quite easily sort a loan deal out in January, I'm sure.
Okay, well, interesting opening arguments and points from each other. I do have to say, young man or woman, I do feel that the reason why I haven't gone for Timo Werner is because he would definitely be ineligible for the Man United women's team. So, sadly.
I'd rather read so anyway.
And also, we are in... what do we do? She won't get minutes, though, with the panel we have. What have we said? That's outrageous, Mickey. Why did you say that?
It's not our fault.
My goodness, we're getting slaughtered. But let's just nip down to the actual stats. It's interesting what you said there, Anthony, about appearances. For Norway, she's got 53 appearances that we're down as seeing. And she started, for reference, all 5 of the World Cup games in France in 2019. So that's in the same article. However, when we look at the Euros, in the 3 group games they played, the only game she started was the 8-0 demolition, which England had. She didn't start in any of the June friendlies. When it came to the April World Cup, she only played in the game against Kosovo, not the one against Poland. In February, she started all 3 of the Algarve Cup, so I don't know if that was just Hege trying to see how she fits in. But that also sort of coincides with when we had our nice little jump in form at United, so maybe why she was getting picked a little bit more. In December, she was there for the 10-0 against Armenia. Basically, she has been on and off over the last few months. For United, 17 league appearances, 25 in total in the one season she's been here. To me, that seems like she's played quite a lot of United's matches, granted a lot of them maybe as substitute. So the next question is, you said, Anthony, maybe she hasn't had as many minutes, Do you think that United have played her enough for her to have been able to be up for consideration for the national team, I suppose would be my next question. So what do you reckon, Connor? Have United given her enough time to be able to demonstrate her ability?
It's a tough one. Like TJ just said, Hege Riise has literally only just come in. So obviously it was the previous coach before that that was making the decisions. Obviously he was not a controversial character, but certainly wasn't well liked. If you listen to what half of the Norway squad said, particularly when Alder came back. But from a Bo Risa point of view, it's I don't know, because you could argue she's not had enough chances. Granted, she didn't play a lot last season, but so did a lot of players. A lot of players were kind of in and out of the squad. You could argue Fuso, you could argue Jackie wasn't played enough as well. Not playing for your club is definitely going to impact not playing for your country. It's going to, and there's not enough games in women's football yet for them to make an impact elsewhere. So you're relying on the WSL to make your impact. And like I said, at Manchester United, the spotlight's on you and everything else. So if she performs at Man United, like I said, it's hard to ignore for Norway. In answer to your question, has Man United played her enough? Not for my liking, personally. I think she's got better quality than I think people give her credit for. But ultimately, we don't know. We don't know until she plays consistently how well she can play. She had some really good games last season. So in answer to your question, yes, and I don't really know. I had to go at you for being on the fence the other night, and I'm sat on it now. I've taken your fence, and now I'm sat on the fence because I don't really know. Because you can make a case for both. That's my point. You can make a case that she has been given chances, and she did have a run in the team, but then couldn't find a way back in. We don't see what happens in training. We don't see what happens behind the scenes there. But I'm going to go with no, purely because when you look at her actual game time, she had a really good run of games. Then after the turn of the year, she just didn't seem to get back into the squad, and I don't quite know why. There must have been a reason. Whatever that reason was, I don't quite know. But when she has played, I thought she's been pretty good. So I don't know why. Maybe we've not seen more of her.
See, my friend, it's not so easy on this side of the debate, is it? When you've got to sit there and make your own mind up about what your little hosty person's asking you. But yes, I think you're absolutely correct. And looking at what was being said, although she wasn't a regular starter for us, in that same article, she started just 2 of our last 10 WSL games of the campaign, and she was withdrawn with more than 20 minutes remaining in both of those. So she has been chosen as the substitute as well, which is fair enough. John, what do you think? Have we given Vilde Risa enough time going into the Euros specifically for her to be chosen for her national team?
No, I don't think so, really. Like Connor said, after the second half of last season, didn't see a great deal of her at all. I don't think she didn't really start hardly any games after the new year. So it probably wasn't probably the best preparation for her in terms of going to the Euros. You did like to have seen her play a lot more minutes. Some reason something's happened, whether there's a bit of a change in tactics that pushed her out of the team or something like that. It's a tough one. Like I say, we've obviously Marc seemed to have a very settled side and that was winning, and she just couldn't seem to ever really get a look in. But you need to be playing sort of week in, week out to if you're going to be playing in a major international tournament, I would think.
Fair point. And Anthony, to you, same question. Do we think Vilde's had the opportunity to show herself as being a good player for her country as well?
No, I don't think she has. I'm struggling to think, has she played a full 90 minutes? Normally, if she does start, she normally comes off. I I brought some stats up from last season. Apparently, she played 17 games in the WSL, played 702 minutes. That on average is 41 minutes if you were to split it into 17 games. But we all know that she hasn't played a lot of her games have been 5-10 minutes, and then she has occasionally had a bit of a late, like a 75-80 minute game. So no, I don't think she has had enough of a chance. But then, like you said, with some managers like Skinner and that, they seem to have their favourites sometimes, I feel, but we don't see what happens in training either, do we? Like, yeah, maybe she's not showing enough in training compared to the others. We just don't know. But yeah, I'm with the other two. I personally don't think she's been given enough of a chance. It's a bit like, no, I was going to say with a United comparison, but I ain't going to use him. But no, I just don't think she's been given enough chance, really. 2 goals, 1 assist, 702 minutes played. When you can play over, like I said, 41%, so it's like 1,600 minutes you can roughly play, I think, if I work it out right. But no, I definitely think, I do think she's probably going to have to go out somewhere if she really wants to be in the Norway squad. Especially now, you've got to take people into consideration that weren't there. Like Lucy Stansforth was injured. So Jade Moore, I know that she's slightly different to Risa, but you got like the likes of Jade Moore now, who hasn't she's not really had a run of games yet. Does Jade Moore get in the side before Risa? I know they're different players, but you got the likes of people like Zen that can push up further up the field for Jade Moore to drop back and stuff. So I think personally, if she wants to be going to the World Cup next year, then she is going to have to look for a loan deal at least. But we'll see. There's still 2 weeks left, isn't there, of the WSL transfer? So anything can happen in 2 weeks.
Sorry, just very quickly off the back of what Anthony was saying. So I've just had a look. So she played 17 games, 702 minutes. This is just purely WSL, obviously Conti and FA Cup aside. Hayley Ladd only played 14, so 3 games less, but 400 minutes more. That shows you how often Risa was hooked earlier in games, so around the 60-minute mark. And when she came on, she only came on for 10, 15 minutes at the end of a game. So just looking at that, she's one of the lowest in terms of game time last season. She's behind Kirsty Hanson, behind Thomas, Jackie, Mannion, Ladd. Considering, half of these were injured and all kinds of things, that you could argue that that's making the case that she hasn't been played enough, just looking off the back of that.
Fair point. Well said. And I brought this one up. This came up very, very early in the broadcast. But Anton but I feel like most players prioritise country over club in the women's game. Club football has a lot of catching up to do still. And without getting into too much of that, the conversation about club has been rife over Twitter today, let's be honest, let's not sugarcoat it. It's been absolutely rife. But I mean, I spoke to a Stevenage player who played for Spurs reserves whilst being an Arsenal fan. So, is it a fair point? Do we think that actually country does come before club? And is that okay in the women's game? Is that something we should go with? I'm intrigued on just following that route just quickly before we sort of pop back to Vilde specifically. What do we think about the club v country debate in the women's game? I was going to ask Connor, but he disappeared. So we'll ask John.
Yeah, it seems to be quite opposite to how it is in the men's game. The international side of things does seem to be a lot more valued and important. It seems to the women's players. They seem to be all very very keen on being in the international setup. Whereas like in the men's, you see people players pulling out all the time and not perhaps taking it quite as seriously as they do in the women's game, perhaps. But maybe that's probably not quite the right word for it. But certainly, yeah, they do seem to really appreciate being in the international team, and it does seem to be a big priority in the women's game.
And Connor's returned back to us from the dark side. So, what do you think? Before country, we know your feelings about country specifically in terms of football, but what's your thoughts in this context?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm probably the wrong person for this because, like I said, I'm not an international fan, as people know. But the reason why I think it is pure until very, very recently, the money's only just started coming in league format. Now, if you wanted to watch your big stars, obviously the WSL has always been there. Obviously, I know it got reformed a few years back and that kind of thing. But it's only very, very recently with Sky and BBC and obviously FA Player pushing it a little bit more. Now you can watch the players week in, week out. Whereas before, you'd watch the World Cup, you'd watch the Euros, it would be on BBC, it'd be a bit more accessible. So I can see why certain players maybe would favour the national side in previous years because it was more accessible to watch. Whereas now the leagues are catching up. You're seeing the German league start to catch up now in terms of the broadcast rights and things like that. Obviously, the Spanish league is more publicised. The French league is probably the only one that is not really pushed a lot. You don't really hear too much about what's happening with kind of Lyon and PSG and so on until the Champions League. So, yeah, I think that's probably the reason. But as Shane said there, Leah Galton's probably the only one that has put club before country, for her own benefit and from obviously positive from a United point of view. She's not going to get any injuries for the national side and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think, and when I say this, I don't think players actively go out there and think, right, I'm going to play better for country. I think it's just a subconscious thing that, it's such a night, playing for your national side and that kind of thing. Especially as well, just a very quick point, when you're playing away from your national. So if you're from Norway, playing outside of Norway, because when you go back, it's like a one big like reunion type thing. You're all coming back from all over Europe and that. So that will be a big thing to note as well when you're talking about national sides.
Absolutely. And Anthony, just before you throw yourself in here, what do you think here? The country does come first, which is ludicrous. Not saying it shouldn't be a goal to put in your country's jersey, but the club comes first. They're the ones who give you those chances to be picked for the country. So would you agree with that statement? What's your thoughts?
Well, me?
I thought I prefaced that with the words Anthony, but maybe I didn't.
Oh no, it's because I didn't hear you say Anthony, but I know you said Anthony before you come in, and then you were talking. I didn't realise.
Yes, okay. The question is addressed at you, dear boy.
Oh. Yeah, it does mainly, doesn't it? It's a strange one as well because unless you're playing, I find it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because, do you get more game time in the country because? Other than when you're playing in the Euros and the World Cup, we're at a standard at the moment where, no offence to the minor teams, that they are proper minors. They're losing 12, 13, 14-0. So you're going to get more. You haven't got that tightness compared to where the WSL is. It's getting more competitive now, isn't it? There isn't. I know Chelsea beat Leicester. I think it was 9-0 last season, but there's few and far apart of them the last season compared to when I think Arsenal scored like 11 against Bristol City one season a few years back. So I don't know whether it's that where you get more of an opportunity for international just purely because of the quality of the opposition. Obviously, everyone talks, even like the England players, and that they always talk. Oh, it's a privilege. You're proud to play for your country, and yeah, you do want to play for your country, but it is a difficult one. It's like, I think someone mentioned it earlier, didn't they? Beth Mead. She didn't get in the Olympics, did she? But then instead of sulking about it and that, she knuckled down. I think it was all right for her though, because obviously the manager changed, so maybe a change of manager might benefit Risa, because like we have discussed, managers once they've got their way of who they have the team, it can become difficult. But I can't see Bo Risa being one of these people that wouldn't be trying her hardest to play for the clubs. I don't think it's like that, where sometimes with the men you see, I don't want to play, I'm not going to play, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's the case. I just think if someone doesn't want you to be starting, it's a very difficult situation.
Yep, I think you're not wrong there. Now, as you can see here, our first choice panelist has appeared. So we're going to take this moment to just grab hold of Connor here, put a loving arm around his shoulder and say thanks for popping on to bulk out the panel. So cheers, Connor. Thank you very much.
I shall join you in the comments. Enjoy. And Sank, just very quick, Sank, is that? I hope that's in order of hairlines that you've put in the comments there.
I got my hair cut today, and I have realised how as I'm getting older that it's going further back.
I quite like that. I'm at the front for a change. So, I like that.
Yes. Winning on that score, dear boy.
But no, enjoy the show. Like the video as well if you haven't already. Make sure you're liking the video. But I'm going to drop out and join you from the comments.
Take care, Connor.
Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, do all those things. It keeps him happy. But Matt, thank you for popping along. Hope everything's sorted back at home. And the question really, if we just catch you up with it, is all about Vilde Risa. So obviously, Hege Riise has said that she's basically not likely to be picked effectively if she's playing for United at the moment. So just quickly bringing us sort of up to date with what you've missed so far. Do you think that Bo Risa is at the right club at Manchester United if she wants to fulfil her international dreams? And also where you stand on club v country?
Yeah, I think it was certainly interesting when those comments came out. I think for me, I'll put it out there, I wasn't a big fan when she was sort of put in charge of England. I thought it was an absolute shambles, probably the worst manager we've ever had. So for her to come out with that was a little bit like, come on, really? Bit of an insult, really, to club and to player, I think. Boris has not been given chances that she deserves, whether that's Marc, whether that's her, I don't know. But I think to throw something like that at a player that's not really had time to settle in at the club as such and show what she can do, to make her choose between club and country is ridiculous. I do hope she sticks it out and I do hope she gets chances. For me, it might be a little bit controversial, but I'd love to see her start alongside Hayley Ladd. I think I talked about this with a few the other day and I said, Hayley Ladd will be the one to sit. And then if we're playing the two sort of pivots, if you want to call them that in possession, Bo Risa would be the one to sort of push forward, to carry the ball, to play those great through balls that we've seen her doing glimpses. I think it was Brighton away last year. Her performance was very, very good. Probably her best performance in a red shirt for me. So, yeah, on that basis, it certainly became interesting from sort of Hege Riise saying that. I think I caught some of your conversation when I was backstage. You're saying, it should be club before country. I think it puts the player in a difficult position, doesn't it? Because she's now thinking, well, I've got my country ambitions. We've seen or heard ambitions of a certain player today that's absolutely melted Twitter. So, yeah, I think to make somebody choose club over country, or for a player to talk about the country whilst with the club, it just never goes down well, does it? So I think for me, I'd still love her to see out a contract. I don't know whether it expires this summer, next summer, or however long she's got. But I think it was a ridiculous comment to make. It was unnecessary. It's coming from somebody that's managerial career of the last couple of years has been a joke. And yeah, it didn't sit well with me, to be honest.
100%. I did feel it was a little bit outrageous. With regards to the other bits, I'm saying absolutely nothing at the moment. But if you'd like to, you can refer to my very own Twitter and see exactly how I feel about that. However, the point I'm going to go to now, we've discussed a lot about Vilde Risa, but I do want to go back to Sang's initial comment from very early on, because I feel like this was an interesting point. He was frantically checking the Chelsea team sheet to see if we can accommodate her. So I suppose actually my next question is this. If she does have to leave Manchester United in order to extend, fulfill her ambitions in the international scene. Do we genuinely think that Vilde Riise is a player who could end up at one of the top 3-4 team, in the WSL? Would she need to go abroad? Would a club like Barcelona, Lyon, Bayern Munich, any of the big teams over there, would they necessarily be in the hunt, do you think, for a Riise? So I'm just a little bit intrigued as to whether or not we think that she's got an upward trajectory to another club, if she was to leave us, or if it would just be more of a sidestep, or even a drop down, but because she's getting more minutes, she's able to show what it is that she's doing. John, we'll go to you first.
I don't think she'd really want, take a step down. I think she, she's a good enough player that she should be able to go somewhere, another WSL team or somewhere else in Europe that's, similar sort of level, Champions League sort of fighting for that sort of position. I wouldn't have thought that she'd want to go to, a lesser sort of quality team than what United are at the moment. So it might make things a bit difficult in that respect. We don't really want to be letting, our good players going to close rivals of ours. But yeah, I certainly think it wouldn't do anything less than what you might call a sidestep to a similar club.
Fair point, Anthony. Do you agree with this? Would she be permanently at the bench at any of these other teams if she was to move up and therefore actually reduce her chances of getting first team football? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it'd defeat the object if she was to go to Chelsea or the likes of Arsenal. You look, Chelsea have got full of talent as it is. Arsenal, Jordan Hobbs is back, so that's another one. I just think it would defeat the object of her wanting to play international football. I'm not sure if I agree with John on would she want to take a step down. I think someone like the likes of Tottenham, she might think, oh yeah, I could get in there, and as San said, it could instantly raise her level of performance, because I feel like a team like Spurs, she could get in there and show what she can do. I personally, that's what I think. I think if it is about getting into the World Cup next season, then yeah, you have to look at where am I going to get kind of time? Where can I show that I can perform to a high level? I deserve to be in the national squad. So if she went to someone like Tottenham, then I wouldn't see it as taking a step down, personally.
Absolutely. And Matt, I think this comment, it's almost like the tiers, isn't it? You've got one whereby if she goes to that, she might not necessarily be a first team choice. If she stays at our level, she might have to accept that it's bit parts in games and not the full 90 every single week. But equally, somewhere like Tottenham, who are pushing for that fourth spot, she could easily raise the standards of their team, couldn't she? So
yeah,
what do you see on that respect?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think the word step down can be viewed, well, it's sort of open-ended, or it is for me. I think if most players, when they leave their club, on the whole, step down. I'm not saying everyone does, but on the whole, if you look at it, there's quite a lot that do to get minutes. I think the way we look at it, like you said there, something like a Tottenham is a perfect example. They're behind us. They're not a million miles behind us. Yes, it's a step down, but it's not a step down as in she's going to Villa. Without being horrible, So I think in her mind, you weigh that up, don't you? If you're going anywhere, I think obviously people have been mentioning Chelsea or Sangas in the comments. They've got enough players. They really have. I don't think they need Riise, as good as she is. I don't think she's going to add anything. She's going to get less minutes than she would if she stayed with United for me. So yeah, somebody like a Tottenham would be a decent fit were she to move on. I'm trying to think who's likely to get that sort of seventh spot. sixth spot, maybe. I don't know. But I just think it's difficult, isn't it? Do you take the gamble and do you hope that somebody like a Spurs want you? Or do you take a gamble and end up at like an Everton or a Villa or a Liverpool, something like that? I guess it depends. I think for me, it's one of them where you go to Hege Riise, you'd sit down, you'd say, look, what do you expect? Now, obviously, I've always been vocal in national teams, mainly England, and said, listen, why are people that are not getting minutes getting picked? So I can understand, based on that, why she hasn't been picked. Maria's a little bit different because Maria played quite a lot. We've had centre-back injuries last season. So yes, it's a difficult one really for player and sort of for club. Marc may not want to sell her, and then what? Then do we have a player that's potentially unhappy? Do we know if she's unhappy? Do we try and work something out? Who knows?
Sorry, Matt, I just wanted to jump in on that because you mentioned Maria, and it's interesting, isn't it? How the manager doesn't appear to have mentioned anything about Maria needing to leave Manchester United if she's going to get chosen. So. Is it literally just down to the fact that Maria has played consistently in the Man United team due to the injuries that have been there? Or is it just that she rates by Risa more? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? I think Maria didn't have the best Euro, mind you, neither did the whole squad, to be fair, but Maria didn't have the best Euros, also talking about Maria. We've then got, obviously, Millie Turner due back, Aoife around Christmas, Tunkara's come in, Maya's been used at centre-half as well. Thor's going to have a bit of a battle on her hands, isn't she? We've seen, I'm not a fan of it, by the way, but we've seen Hayley Ladd used at centre-back. Is she going to be an option ahead of Maria? Potentially not. But I think, yeah, a decision has to be based on football and minutes. It has to be. And obviously she probably, like you say, must see Bo Risa as a key player or one of the key players. I'd say so anyway, for that national team. And you want your key players to be getting minutes at the club, don't you? And sort of not, the word, maybe stagnate, so in that respect I understand it, but there'd be nothing wrong with saying, listen, you need to go and get some minutes, speak to your manager or whatever, just keep it in-house. Don't be going out criticizing, saying, oh well, you need to pick Man United's not the club for you, you're not getting games, I don't like the brand of football or whatever nonsense she came out with. Don't go and hang somebody else, because at the end of the day, it's not all Risa's fault. That's she's placed where she is. That's down to Marc. That's down to Marc and his team selection, what he wants, the way he wants to play. He favours Katie and Jackie or Katie and Hayley. That's fine. Marc's the manager. But for somebody else, you won't get Marc going saying to Hege Riise, oh well, actually, you should do this and that. So that's why it didn't sit with me. Keep it in house. It's that simple. But yeah, I'm gonna pass on because I'm gonna end up waffling and going on a rant. But those are my thoughts.
All right, we have a good waffle.
More minutes, and hopefully she stays. I'll finish it there.
Absolutely. And there's loads of different things that are being said here. Sang's gone on with this one. Is it possible Marc's biased against VBR? TJ thinking maybe that's obvious. I'm not sure I like the word biased, but he didn't sign her. And so in that respect, maybe in the same way that we said about Paris at Arsenal with a different manager signing them, just doesn't fit the system that they want to play or the strategy. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that the player's poor. It just means that maybe they don't necessarily fit in the way they want to play. So 1,000,001 things that could be said there when it comes to VBR. But we do have to move on ever so slightly. We can't just continually talk about Vilde Risa for the entirety of the hour, although I'm sure we could. Just before I go into this one, we'll put this one up just so we can watch Matt's face go a little bit red. No, not really. Watching from Ireland, so it seems fair to point that out. Although, to be fair, you did get an answer just here from TJ. So there we go. But that's the reasoning as far as they're concerned. But this is where I wanted to look at now. PSG want Jackie, Barca want Wolves/Roord. Less bothered about the Wolves/Roord bit because that's not United. But we know there is rumours, however thin they might be, nothing concrete, that PSG might want Jackie. There's also rumours, although entirely denied by the family of Kirsty Hanson, that she might potentially be going on loan or there might be a move on the horizon there. Both of those things, the way I want to phrase this particular question is if we're seeing a bit of a clear out in the midfield here at United, does that mean that maybe we're going to thin out the way this midfield looks? And do you think that now Marc is 100% laser focused on what his midfield is, and he's not going to suffer fools, basically? So if you're not in his starting lineup, not in his good books, for want of a better term, then the chances are you're not likely to get much of a starting position. What do we think about the way the midfield is shaping up? John, we'll kick off with you.
I think, certainly, like with regard to, like you say, Vilde and Jackie, obviously neither of them, obviously Marc's signings, obviously Jackie's been at United a few years now. So whether he's perhaps thinking about perhaps moving a few on and just, condensing the midfield a little bit, like you say, it might be that he's got an idea that he wants sort of just, 2 or 3 in there that he prefers to play, and maybe just have a few of the, younger players, devs, as sort of backup, perhaps, and sort of maybe getting rid of a few of the bigger names. Maybe that might be on the cards, perhaps. I don't know if it's meaning that Jackie's leaving before the end of this window potentially, or if it's or if she'll still be here till next summer. And
if she does go, John, does that bother you? If Jackie was to leave and Kirsty was to leave, do you feel that we as a club would miss that? What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think it wouldn't be a disaster, but far from it. We've sort of got some well established players in there now. I think we could cope with it. Obviously, a lot of people would not be happy about it, but you could probably you could say that about anybody, I guess. So I think with the squad that we've sort of built up in the last year or two, I think we're pretty well capable of coping with losing 1 or 2 big names.
For sure. And Anthony, just adding on further with this point from TJ, if we lose Jackie and we lost VBR as well, do you think that puts us in a negative position? One of the things we've spoken about is squad depth. If you don't have the depth of Jackie Groenen and Vilde Risa to bring onto your midfield, would that really disable us, for want of a better term, in terms of our quest for the top 3? Or perhaps do you think we could survive that? What do you think, Anthony?
Well, obviously, if we lost VBR, I don't think it'd make much of a difference. But I do feel like Jackie's a bit more. She's a bit more better on the ball, isn't she? She creates a bit more, which we need them sort of options. I feel if we lost both of them, then yeah, it'd probably be a step back. Because even though we're talking about centre midfielders aren't in centre. Like, obviously, we know Tooney's obviously plays further up. You've obviously got Zellem who starts. Then you still got Ladmore in Stansforth, but like to Stansforth, she's not guaranteed to stay injury free. We haven't seen much of Jade Moore yet. I feel, yeah, it would be a slight backward step if we did allow both of them to go.
It's a fair point. And so therefore, where do you stand on that, Matt? Because as Anthony says, he lists off a long list of players who can play within the midfield. Ella Toon, Grace Clinton, just for a start, as to people that can play in that more advanced role. We saw Jade Moore having a go at being a bit more further forward and a bit more box to box. You mentioned Hayley Ladd yourself, Katie Zellem. I mean, there is literally a plethora of Manchester United midfielders. Is there an argument that Skinner does have to thin that out a little bit, or what do you think?
Thin it out, yes, but not with the players mentioned. And before anyone thinks me of being negative, I'd be very surprised to see Staniforth and Moore next season. I think contracts, obviously, Stanley signed a new 1-year deal. Moore signed 18 months, which takes them both just this season being the last year. I think for me, if I was looking to chop it, those two will be first on my list. if we do sort of to touch on the Bo Risa and Jackie debate, I think if we lose both, then we do need to go out and get somebody else. You know, Clinton is young, still learning. Tooney, yep, happy with that. Obviously, obvious reasons. You talk about, or we talk about as fans competing on forefronts for trophies and aims of Champions League. I think you do need a squad and you do need to be able to rotate. So if we did lose Jackie and Vilde, then we need to sign somebody else for me. I think, you know, we've got Ladd, we've got Zellum, you know, Jackie and Risa, which is great at the minute. We've got 4. Can we keep them all happy and rotate? Potentially, maybe not. I think if we lost one out of Jackie or Bo Risa, then for me, that's not quite the end of the world, so to speak, to put it in context. I think we'd manage, but I do think we need to be careful what we wish for, because last year we were crying out for strikers, and then this afternoon I've read people complaining we've got too many, and I'm sort of scratching my head thinking, well, hang on a sec, like, surely we want more goals than we've been scoring. So it's the same for midfielders, you know, we're going to get rid of so many that become too light and it ruins the quality overall, potentially, if we're not careful. But at the minute, yeah, I think, like I say, if I was looking to lose a couple, then it would be Staniforth and more for me. I just feel we've got better quality with Jackie, Katie and Haley in the middle.
It's a fair point, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because, like you say, it's that thin line that elite managers really have to walk between having enough squad depth that you have quality to replace quality every single time, but equally trying to keep that quality engaged enough with the project and happy with their amount of time on the pitch in order to be able to keep them at the club and keep them happy, and obviously to give them to go and play for the national team. And it's been very interesting. I thought, just lost his comment here, but this again is another very interesting point that goes with it. It's a bit too late to lose them now, because actually with the transfer window coming to a close, especially if these are players that we weren't expecting to go, and they were very much in Marc's thoughts and his ideas and his plans, do we think maybe just carrying on from this, is it too late? Is it too late to be letting these players go unless that's already part of the plan and that was always part of it? You would argue with VBR that it's not in the plan, because it's only coming about because the international managers stuck our nose in and started getting all, you know, up in our grill, for want of a better term. But then equally with the Jackie one, is that just because PSG have decided that they were rubbish because we larruped them 1-0 in that friendly, and so therefore they need more in the midfield because we totally bossed them over there? What is it? Do we think it's too late? Short answers only on this 1 minute. John, what do you reckon?
Yes, I agree. I think I can't see any of them, either of them, leaving this late or this close to the start of the season. I think it's just sort of bit of vicious rumours with we've had it quite often with Jackie. It seems to be last couple of summers it's sort of reared up a little bit, and like I say with the Vilde thing, it's just obviously what's been said today, it's just sort of fuel the rumours sort of thing. But no, I would say not at this stage, either of them to leave.
And Anthony, is it too late, do you think, or is it all part of the plan?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with John. I think we're 2 weeks before the transfer window shuts. If you're selling them and then you're scrambling for a replacement, it's like, who's available? Are you just bringing in someone to then boost the numbers back up? I definitely can't see Jackie going. Vilde Risa, we don't know what's been said. It depends how desperate she is for game time. So until things come out about that, then I'd imagine she'll stay. But briefly, I was going to mention something. Someone mentioned earlier about the squad depth and that. Yeah, it's good that we got the squad depth and that. But with the amount of games we have in a season, we're never going to be able to fully rotate everyone to keep them happy. There's always going to be someone who unfortunately is going to miss out purely because we have 22 games in a league. Then you have your 6 Conti minimum, and then FA Cup's a 1 game minimum, depending how far you get. So, no, it is very hard to keep them all pleased.
Fair point. And so, Matt, just quickly on that one, too late or never too late?
Too late for me. I think, obviously, we've sort of near enough finished pre-season. You've got to get somebody settled in, especially if they're coming from abroad. I just think it's too much now to be losing a key player in either Jackie or Vilde, to be fair, and then bring somebody in and expect them to be up to speed or challenge for a place. I think is do that. You may as well try and keep them both, assuming both want to stay for this season, and maybe look at it next summer if we need to.
Fair points, one and all. So, I think we've pretty much done to death this particular conversation with regards to Vilde Risa, how well she's played. Obviously, the hope is, I agree with Connor entirely, 100% the hope is that she stays, performs out of her skin, plays herself into the first 11 and goes on an absolute amazing run, scores like 9 million goals, especially the winner over Chelsea, saying that would be amazing. But we shall have to wait and see with what happens there. There's lots and lots and lots of reasons and thoughts behind everything that we mentioned there. So in a moment, we are going to plug and discuss our prediction league. I'm going to be bringing a little bit of information about that for you. But just before we do, I feel like it would be remiss of me not to ask this question because it has popped up, not just on my timeline, but here today, people mention it as well. I'm not getting involved, but I would very much just like to find out what people think. Does it bother you if one of our players wants to play at Anfield? John Neville, what do you reckon?
No, it doesn't bother me. No, you can't blame players for wanting to play at the the sort of more iconic stadiums. So no, it doesn't cause me any issue at all.
Anthony, you first?
No, same as most people have seen. Just think it. As long as when you put the Man United shirt on, that you're doing the job for United, then why should it matter? It's like there's loads of people that say we know Rachel Daly's a Leeds fan, Leah Galton's a Leeds fan, but when they put, especially Leah Galton, when she puts that United shirt on, even if we did play Leeds, obviously we won't play Leeds because they're not quite that good in the women's game level wise. But no, as long as I can, like everyone, like John said, as long as they perform for United when they got United colours, it doesn't bother me.
And Matt, you first.
How long have we got?
You've got 30 seconds. Are you fussed? Is the question?
Jesus. Right. No, I think. Listen. I've commented on this, not even just about Paris, but time and time again, and I'm getting sick of it now. I don't care who people support player-wise. I really don't. Listen, we've talked about it enough today. I think, Barry, you've probably talked about it more than anyone. And listen, most genuine, decent fans have stuck up for Paris, and sort of talked about it. I have no issue with who they support. I have no issue with players having goals and dreams. It's a short career. I think what people don't understand is that interview has been taken out of context by people that can't read. And if they can read, then they're just idiots, because her overall topic and discussion point was boosting attendances, atmospheres, playing in bigger, better stadiums, which we've all been crying out for years. Now, she happens to be honest and mention that she wants to play at Anfield, and in her view, it's a better atmosphere, or it will be. Now, that's fine. I think personally the atmosphere at Anfield is woeful and it's a myth, but we'll agree to disagree, or whoever in the comments. But I think you can't go for somebody for being honest, and people are crying out saying players should be honest, players should do this, players should do that. So if we're going at that approach, why are we then slating somebody for being honest? If I was to say as a fan, I want to go and watch Man United women in Europe, I want to go to the new camp and I want it to be packed out. Does that mean I'm now a Barcelona fan, or I don't like United, or, it doesn't, does it? Players have goals, fans have goals. let's not get into the myths. But I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And listen, it's nothing more than agenda fueled. I've seen quite a lot of people, and I've found myself agreeing with Liverpool and Arsenal fans, which has been bizarre, to be honest. But I just think people are fueling an agenda because they don't like the player. They don't want her at the club for whatever ridiculous reason. I'm seeing all sorts of absolute ridiculous things, inaccuracies thrown her way. There was something about, oh yeah, she said that we wanted fourth. She never said that at all. You know, that was just another ridiculous thing gamed away. But it's nothing more than agendas thrown at a player because they don't like her to say, oh yeah, well, I've been proven right. This hasn't worked. That hasn't worked. You know, people are doing things now for likes and retweets and follows. Who cares? Like, you know, like Anthony said, Leah supports Leeds. There's people that support Liverpool, Man City. Have they been given the same abuse? No, they haven't. Now, I'm not saying go and do it. But where's the consistency? You know, you can't go at somebody just because you don't like them signing for your club. You know, there might be players I don't like at United, but you don't see me going finding things and making stuff up for likes and retweets just to, you know, just to prove a point. I'm going to end it there because it's actually done my head in. And I've been commenting on this briefly and having interactions with people. But yeah, just to wrap it up, ridiculous comments by ridiculous people. And am I surprised? Not really, because I've been bashing her ever since. The same people that abused me last summer when I said it's an improvement. And I think we'll end it there.
Okay. And to be fair, as Connor says here, we don't all do things for likes. So a like on this video would be very much appreciated as we try to continue the growth of this, I think, rather wonderful channel that allows people their voice.
That's the only way when you're allowed to like something. And failing that, go and like our players and let's all get behind them, for God's sake.
For sure. And again, everybody, all opinions entirely welcome on this show. Even when I'm hosting it, you won't see me arguing with you there at all. I'll just tell you you're wrong. It's not a problem. But I shan't mute you. So there we go. You can see how much it means when they lose a game. You know, again, Mead, we know that she's a United fan. What about Miedemar? I think if I read that interview correctly, she's actually a Liverpool fan. So,
you don't see other fan bases jumping. I mean, okay, there was a little bit, wasn't there, on Mead for Ronaldo? But do you know what I mean? Like, it's only our fan base and it ruins it for everyone else.
For sure.
Anyway.
But there we go. So there's lots of different things there. Anyway, I had to talk about that, not because I need any justification, but genuinely because I panicked and I'd lost the message from our illustrious boss that I needed with regards to the prediction league. And I just needed to buy myself some minutes to find that rather than sitting here aimlessly waffling about nothing.
You need some more. I'll carry on, Barry.
Right. I've found it now. And it was simply to discuss the prediction league, which I'm instantly told is not a topic on itself. So therefore, I shall try not to make it one. But I'm sure there's going to be a question coming around to all of you very briefly about it. Those of you that were watching may have noticed that during the Euros, we held an All for United prediction league. It was absolutely bossed by Charlie, the usual regular. You can see her on Monday. Fantastic opinions, fantastic thoughts, very sensible lady, and clearly knows what she's talking about. Nailed it. Absolutely walloped the lot of us. I'm talking about TJ, Marty, myself. All got absolutely whooped. Connor, done it. So we thought, let's do it again. This time, though, we want to do it for the WSL. And it will literally be just the WSL games, and anybody can get involved. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what club you support, doesn't matter where you want to play. I'm not fussed. All are welcome. Come and see us. Come and join us on the All for United WSL Prediction League. There's plenty of us doing it. I know that John Commode's interested in it. Anthony will be joining us, I'm sure, because he loves a good prediction league. It's a great opportunity for anyone to get involved. We've got other clubs that are getting involved. I've been eagerly scouting my Twitter and trying to find some people who could come on so that we do have a mixture of other clubs' fans. Because, hey, if we want rivalry with fans, this is a good way to do it. So, and it's a fun, safe way to. But why should you bother? Well, we here at All for United have been discussing what prizes we would possibly be able to open up there. And it's difficult because if you open it up to just Manchester United fans, that's really easy. And we can search for things that are just Man United based. However, if we're opening up to everybody in the WSL, there's some people like Sang who really are not going to be fussed if you offer them a season ticket to Manchester United, for example. He's not going to use it. Not fussed. Not going to go to that, is he? Like, well, I want to go and watch that rubbish. So that's what happens when you're a Chelsea fan. So we had a little think about it. And as it stands, I'm going to put a little asterisk here, could be subject to change. But as it stands, we are considering the following. If you were to finish in 3rd place, we would be willing to buy you the season ticket for your women's team, whichever club it is you support. 2nd place, we may well buy you a club shirt. And 1st place, we might buy you a club shirt and give you an Amazon voucher for you to go and spend on whatever it is your heart desires. Like for me, it would probably be hearing aid batteries and, I don't know, to blind everything else. Maybe not the hearing aid batteries, but nobody's speaking to me, so it's not a problem. So that's what we're thinking of doing. It's an easy enough prediction league. It'll all be launched properly in that respect. But the question to you guys is simply this. John, what do you think about it? Do you think you'll be joining in, the lot of you? What do you reckon? Does it sound like fun to you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, very, very good idea. I think I shall be, participating without a doubt, Barry. Yeah,
excellent, Anthony. Thank you. Anthony, you've been a long admirer of doing a prediction league, I know. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'll definitely be joining, and it's good that you're going to open it up to everyone, and there's the incentives of getting top 3. It'll be good, and a little bit better than obviously me and John started off last year, and you're just expanding it to make it a bit better. Like I discussed last time, I was on a sort of don't have the time to commit, so I was quite happy that you took it over, because I saw in the Euros you did a great job. So it's just a lot easier if I go, oh, here's my predictions, blah blah blah. And then hopefully I'll be one of the top 3. But
well, that's why. So, which club shirt would you want, by the way? Will it be this one or Stourbridge, or where are we going for?
It'll be a Man United one, because I'm pretty sure I get a Stourbridge one at the end of the season for sponsoring the player.
Well, fun fact: I get the same for Stevenage. So good point, well made. Matt, what do you reckon?
No, I like it. Do you know what? It's good because I think it might have been Rob or somebody I was having this conversation with, and we sort of likened it to the old Football Focus, where Loro used to go up against somebody every week and, they put out the predictions. I think it's fun, I think it's a good way to engage with other supporters of different clubs, Everyone has different, obviously, opinions, different views. It'd be good to see that, who predicts what. Like say, gets people involved, gets people talking, and it shows that actually we're not actually a bad bunch as people make us out to be. There are some good United fans, believe it or not, despite what you may read and what utter nonsense you may hear. But no, I like it. It sounds good. I'm looking forward to it. Like you've all touched on, the Euros one was good. I've got to be careful what I say, because I think my Euro prediction was for Germany to win it. A whole head in hands moment. They did make the final, so I'm gonna take that. But no, it's good, isn't it? It just provides a bit of entertainment, a bit of discussion point, and hopefully is good for getting to know some more people and fans.
It's good they lost.
It is good they lost now. Yeah, I'm retracting my my prediction if I can.
You were on an absolute winner there, weren't you? Because either Germany won and you could go, oh yeah, I was right, or Germany lost and you could go, hang on a minute, England have just won a national trophy for the first time.
Yeah, that was it. I was absolutely
56 years. So yeah, pretty good. So yes, a reminder: 3rd place season ticket, 2nd place club shirt, 1st place club shirt and an Amazon ticket. So therefore, Sang is in. But as I did say, all prizes subject to change for announcement soon. Prizes in total worth over £200. So I think basically what Connor's saying there is that's subject to people like me putting my hand in my pocket as well and saying, yeah, I'll put a little bit towards that. So yeah, come and have a go if you think you're good enough. Absolutely. Sang, I will shave my head if you beat me. But there we go. TJ says he's bad at this as well. I don't know if there's a fantasy league for the WSL. Not something I paid attention to.
There is. It's very complicated to do, if I remember rightly. It's not as easy as the Premier League one.
Places you can go to. Sam wants an honour jersey in Chelsea blue. Well, we can provide you with that, I'm sure, but I don't think said we'd do printing, so you might have to do that yourself, my friend.
You can always mix up the words so it says no A.
Yes, no way would even be better. So there we go. Lots there to look forward to, but it is time, as ever, to draw it to a close. I've got 2 dogs that need walking, so I had a massive headache earlier, so I should probably do that before I reach muggable times. So I will be off to go and do that. Whatever you're doing, stay safe. But Connor has reminded us there is just one last thing that we need to point out. After it has to be said, resounding success of last Friday's watch-along, we are pleased to announce that with it being a behind closed doors friendly, we here at All for United have, I think, quite nicely agreed to have another one. We didn't think we'd have one so soon, but with Man United against Everton on Sunday, 12 o'clock kickoff, being broadcast live on MUTV, and the acknowledgement that some people don't like to purchase that particular channel for obvious reasons. Some of us have, and we'll take the rap for that as well. So not a problem. Yes, I have an MUTV subscription. And yes, I shall be watching it in order to provide all of you beautiful people with another watch along. So do feel free to come and join us on Sunday, 12 o'clock, live. Already signed up. We definitely have a Charlie. We definitely have a Connor. We may also have my twin pop on again at some point during the session. So do feel free to come and join us on Sunday. I'm sure we'll be back on Monday for some form of reaction show. There's more coming on over the Wednesday. I'll be back next week from Friday, live from Stevenage. But to you three, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks, Connor, for popping in as well. It's been a pleasure as ever. And I hope you all have a cracking weekend. Goodbye.